Did you learn any new techniques when you were out in California or learn anything from the Yanks when you were there?
My God, tons. I mean, I think Los Angeles is a fantastic place. It's not just a location, it's an ontology, right? It's a state of mind, right? And as long as you sort of understand that state of mind, it's one big poker game, right? You know, you
Everyone's bluffing?
Everyone's bluffing, but also, no one wants to show. They always say, "Hey, it's really great. That's fantastic." I remember I was dating a girl back in the late '90s. We were in New York. She was a film producer, and on the way to dinner, she took 3 phone calls, right? And she went, "Hey, I am so excited to be working with you. It's going to be great." Then the next one, she went, "Hey, you tell him we're finishing this now." Then she went, "Hey, what a great opportunity we have here." I went, first call LA, second call New York, third call LA. She went, "How do you know?" I said, "Well, because you changed, your language essentially and your approach." So LA is the cream of the entertainment industry. It's so you've got the most spectacularly talented people there. You also have a large number of people wanting a small number of jobs. So unless you're prepared to adapt, so you have a lot of people who are very adaptive. They can wait tables. They can, you're not just an actor. You've got to be able to sing, dance, tell jokes. You got to be able to, find ways to work within the ever-changing environment. But and also, I was there at a time when we had a British invasion. Remember, right? So in the same way we invaded musically with the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Who, etc. in the 60s, we've invaded in television. So you have people like Simon Cowell and you have Gordon Ramsay, Piers Morgan, all these people in front of the camera. You've got all the people behind the camera, the 2 big shows, Idol and the Dancing Show, the big formats, etc. So you've got a lot of British talent in television. It was a great time for me to be there. And so I really enjoyed it. But, it is also a place where if you're doing well, it's good. If you're not, I think it's not as good. I think it's a tough town. So I learned a ton of things. I would work with people. I worked with a whole load of movie stars, rock stars, and some of them had like regular problems, like they want to quit smoking or they've got some bizarre phobia. And then others would have a bit of a crisis of confidence. So I learned a technique for boosting charisma, right? And because I studied people who were really charismatic. Other people, I just doubt myself, etc. And so I always like that story about Marilyn Monroe. She's walking through the park and a friend says, "I can't believe nobody's coming up to you." And she said, "It's because I'm Norma Jean." She says, "Watch this." Suddenly becomes Marilyn Monroe. She gets mobbed, right? And so charisma. I noticed that there's some people who are not necessarily traditionally good looking, but they have got this, that's right. They say an actor, somebody, you appreciate the performance, but a movie star, when someone comes on the screen, you can't take your eyes off them. Yeah. It's a Steve McQueen, it's a Sean Connery, it's that sort of thing. Yeah. And I noticed that there were certain things, and I studied people who were very charismatic. And I learned a whole load of things from them and how to create more charisma. So I would teach things like that, but also then I'd work with creative people like writers. And I did things like, I watched an interview with Paul McCartney, who was writing a ballet. And they said, "How do you know what to write?" He said, "I'm sitting here, it's opening night, curtain goes up. What do I see? What do I hear? Make notes." So I do that with the book. I go off in the future and I hold it and I get a sense of it first and I bring it back. So I would take writers to a screening of their movie, sitting next to Steven Spielberg or Alien or something, who would also critique it. And they'd watch the movie and they'd see fragments at the beginning. And then they get more and more and more. So they're borrowing from the future. I came up with a lot of techniques like that. And then, the other thing is I was very fortunate to meet some extraordinary people. I became friends with the legendary film producer Robert Evans. And I'd always wanted to meet Bob. There's really nobody left for me to meet that I've met. And he was, such an interesting man. I mean, The Kid Stays in the Picture is my favorite documentary. And I got a call one day and Bob would like to meet you. I went, "Bob Evans wants to," yeah, he's really interested in hypnosis. He's senior, he wants to talk to you. I went, "Oh, God." So I go over to meet this kind of existential god of Hollywood, right? And he was this, Bob is sadly passed now, but he was, he was kind of older then, but his mind sharp, genius sharp, right? And we just struck up a friendship. So I'd go to see him 2 or 3 times a week and I'd talk to Bob. And he had the greatest stories. really wise, right? And he loved the hypnosis. He said, I've been listening to your CD and I like the spiritual side of it. In this big voice, the way you talk to like this. And then like, this is an example of Bob Evans, right? He go, I say, Paul, Henry Kissinger once said to me, you got to make 3 circles. First one's big, that's your acquaintances. The next one's smaller, that's your friends. And the smallest one, that's your real friends. People who be there for you, you got to be there for them. So I went away and I did it, right? I've got a few real friends here in LA, but mostly friends and acquaintances. More real friends in Europe, here, Spain, Switzerland, Italy, etc. So that's why I decided to move back to Europe. And I think also, because I married a British girl and she found out how to make friends in LA, etc. So there were a number of factors that coincided. But yeah, so I got to meet some of the most interesting people to live life in this extraordinary way that I'd seen only in movies. There was that movie that Dudley Moore made in the 70s called 10. He lived in the Hollywood Hills and he had a Rolls Royce. And I saw it as a kid and I went, that looks good. And so
you did that?
I did, yeah, that's right.
How long were you there?
I was there 10 years.
10 years.
And it was like a chapter and it was fantastic because it was a moment in time. And that's not the sort of place I want to live now, or that lifestyle. I think I've changed. Certainly, we go through, if you'd met me 20, 30 years ago, I'd be a different person, different values, different ambitions, etc.
Right. So you got out alive, though.
I did. And it's funny, nearly everyone else I know has moved back. Not everyone, but nearly everyone has. And I think places, for a time when I lived in New York at the end of the last century, the dot-com boom was happening. There was a lot. It was exciting. It was wonderful. And it's changed. It's a very different sort of city now, and I'm not making any value judgment on it. I'm just saying it's different.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm going to tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone, also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline. I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up. If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you gonna do? What's the choice that you're going to make?